So I've got a friend who, like me, loves watching films, and a few of his friends have all seen the new Birds of Prey film, and they were all complaining about it. So he got in touch with me and said, why don't you do a video on the new Birds of Prey film? So I thought to myself, why not? Now, I'm not going to mention who this is because he's already had enough promotion from me in the past, and I'm not... Oh, damn it. Never mind. Anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. We are actually going to discuss and talk about 10 things that could have made Birds of Prey better. Right, so before we get started, just the usual self-promotion stuff. Please hit the like button, and also please share with your friends as well. And also, please, while you're here, hit the subscribe button and get the notifications every time I do a new video. But lastly, just to let you know, this film is fairly new, so there is going to be spoilers. Don't blame me if you watch this video and I spoil it, and there is going to be a lot of spoilers today. But yeah, let's get cracking. Number 10. More screen time for the Birds of Prey. So, this film's called Birds of Prey, and yet the Birds of Prey are background characters. Seriously, they don't feature that much in this film. They're not the main plot point of this film. In fact, Huntress doesn't actually appear until after the hour mark on this film, and this film is only 1 hour and 40 minutes long when you take out the end credits. The whole backstory for the Birds of Prey is predominantly a C plot for this movie, and them coming together as a group is more of the B plot. Why call this film Birds of Prey when the Birds of Prey are not going to actually be in it? Which quite neatly leads on to the next point. Number 9. Film title. Right, so yeah, I've just said that in the previous entry, the Birds of Prey were predominantly background characters in this film. This film is all about Harley Quinn. Literally, that's all this film is about, and everything else is just supporting. And I don't know why, because Harley Quinn has never actually been a part of the Birds of Prey. Never. So, why call this film Birds of Prey with Harley Quinn when she's not there? I know at the end of the film, Canary, Huntress and Montoya form the Birds of Prey, but that is literally right at the very end of this film. It doesn't make sense. This film, the A-plot of this film, is all about Harley Quinn and her moaning about her breakup from the Joker. Why call this film Birds of Prey? It should just be called the Harley Quinn movie, whatever the hell that subtitle they stuck on. Number 8. Not Try and Copy Deadpool. So yeah, in the Deadpool movie, they actually have Deadpool narrating and telling the story from A to B in the form of a flashback. And it works, it's kind of cool, he's kind of funny and all that lot. In this film they try and do it, but they OTT it, and I just found the narration just more annoying than anything. Now, on screen, Margot Robbie is fantastic as Harley Quinn, she's brilliant, but the narration part of it was a no-go. I just found that annoying, and it was so off-putting trying to watch this film, and yeah, it's not good. Number 7. Have a more linear story. So most films tend to have a story that tells the story from beginning to end, and sometimes they do have a flashback in it just before the beginning of the film. This film was literally a flashback in a flashback in a flashback in a flashback, and it was just all over the place. It made the story so hard to follow. Now, I like films, and I'm quite an intelligent guy, if I do say so myself, and even I was struggling to follow the story, and it takes your enjoyment away from watching this film when you're thinking about the story way too much. Now, on films that make you think, they're fine, but when it's making you think about the actual story and what the hell's going on, that's not fine. It takes away from the actual story and the enjoyment of watching this film. Number 6. Have a lower rating. Since Suicide Squad has come out, Harley Quinn has become more of a fan favourite than she's ever been before, especially thanks to the performances of Margot Robbie. With that has become a lot more fans as well, and a lot of those fans are little young girls. In fact, my girlfriend's daughter wanted to see this film, and she's 11. The problem was, she can't. Now, in the US it has an R rating, and over here in the UK it has a 15 rating. which means you are cutting out a lot of the audience that want to see this film. There is a huge market and a huge demand to see a Harley Quinn film aimed at younger girls, and they all want to see her. But yeah, you shot yourself in the foot, and you could have made a lot more money out of this. Now, when they're making this film, they should have aimed for a 12A rating over here in the UK. I can't say what the equivalent is in the United States. But at 12A, you could have got a lot more of these younger girls in. Or hell, the parents might have seen it once and then seen it a second time while taking their child. More money, bigger box office returns. But that was the market. This film shot themselves in the foot. Number 5. Have a better Victor Zzaz. Right, so in the comics, Victor Zzaz, he's bold and he's sadistic, psychotic and a serial killer. Awesome. Well, not really, but it's a good character. In this film, he's not really any of those films. In fact, one of the biggest differences is in the comics, Victor Zzaz hates guns because they are unreliable, so he prefers using knives. In this film, yes, he has hair. Now, for me, that was a big no-no because it put me off taking him seriously. It did hint at some psychotic things and sadistic things, but didn't really go through with it. And yeah, he was running around with guns the whole film. It's not a really accurate portrayal of this comic book character. He was a stereotypical right-hand man. Change the name to anything else. Hell, even use my name. It would have worked, but because you stuck in the name Victor Zzaz, you've ruined that one, granted, supporting character, but comic book fan no. Number 4. Renee Montoya is a more respected cop. Another big difference from the comics to the film, and this is a big difference as well. In the comics, Montoya is a fantastic police officer, a brilliant detective, and a very strong, independent woman. In this film, she is more of a nobody, a loser, and someone who walks all over her. Also, the differences on why they leave the police departments. In the comics, she left because of all the corruption. In the film, she left because she was fed up of being walked all over. This is a big difference. Why? You've got fantastic characters. You're not changing them for the better, you're making them worse. Keep the characters as they portrayed in the comics. That's what fans want to see. Number 3. Cassandra Cain is not a thief. So yep, a third one where there's a big difference between the film and the comic book character. And this time we're talking about Cassandra Cain. In the film, Cassandra Cain is an orphan thief who lives with her foster parents, abusive foster parents I might add. That's not how she's portrayed in the comics. In fact, I get the feeling the writers have got their Batman sidekicks mixed up. What do I mean? Well, in the comics, Cassandra Cain's parents are assassins, and that's where she was born. She was born into the life of an assassin. She was trained by the League of Assassins, and then eventually took on the mantle of Batgirl. She has gone on to become other characters, but she is a sidekick to Batman. So who have they based Cassandra Cain on? Bizarrely enough, Jason Todd. Yep, Jason Todd was an orphan thief who eventually turned into the second Robin after he tried to steal the wheels off the Batmobile. Great move, but it works. Granted, Jason Todd's death was something to be desired, but they seem to have got the origin stories of these characters mixed up. Did the writers of this film actually do any research on the characters, or just think that would do for this and that would do for this? No, there was too much differences. If you're going to do a comic book film, you want a film based on that comic book. You wouldn't want Bruce Wayne be on the dole office every Thursday and being a vigilante at night. It doesn't work. We enjoy the comics, we want to see it on the big screen. Number 2. Have Harley Quinn have a redemption arc. One of the things that makes Harley Quinn so interesting in the comics is the fact that every time she splits up and gets away from the Joker, she tries to redeem herself. She tries to be a good person, tries to become a hero or anti-hero, whatever you want to call it. And it makes it interesting, it makes a good read, and we enjoy it. In this film, they did not do that at all. She was a bad person through and through. That's it. She didn't try to make herself better. She didn't try to make herself a hero or a good guy. She was a bad person. She flaunted the fact that she was a bad person and admitted she was a bad person all the way through this film. Now, granted, at the end of this film, she did try and save Cassandra Cain, but that was the only bit of good she did throughout the whole film. So much so that even at the end of this film, after the climax, after everything, they're driving away and she's training Cassandra Cain to be her new apprentice. There's no consequences to her actions. Number 1. Have the women portrayed stronger? Right, I'm well aware that I might get a lot of flack for this, but this is my opinion on this part. This film, 4 out of the 5 lead female characters were not portrayed as strong, independent women like this film should be doing. These women all came across as whiny and just basically having a lash out because they haven't got their own way. They're more like spoiled children whose toys have been taken away. That's how they come across. Now, I would say I blame it on the writing, but it was written and directed by women. Yet the film comes across that the film was written and directed by sexist men. And that's the impression I got. Now, I don't think that was the intention. I think it's supposed to be, this is strong, independent women. Now, they got it right with Canary, and she's the only one that I got that impression from, but all the others, no. This is the 21st century. We have a big movement of equal rights where we have equal rights for women, or that movement for it. This film is portraying women not at that level. Oh, he broke up with me. I'm going to go and smash everything. No, that's not what women do. They get up, they rebuild themselves. They don't go out on a bloody killing spree, blowing stuff up just for the sheer hell of it. Sorry, I know I'm being a bit anti-women here, but this is how the film made me feel. Final thoughts. Okay, I'll be honest, I wasn't really looking forward to watching this film, especially after all the poor reviews this film got. So yeah, I wasn't actually looking forward to it. But for this purposes, I have watched the film. There are some good points onto it. I mean, Ewan McGregor was fantastic. Margot Robbie looks like she was born to play Harley Quinn on screen. She was fantastic once again for it. And also the soundtrack was awesome. I think I would love to go and actually listen to the actual Birds of Prey soundtrack. It was fantastic. And visually, it was quite good as well. That being said, there is so much wrong with this film. It's a mess. It is all over the place. It's not coherent. There's no linear story, like I've already said. And also the writing, it was just lazy research on the writing. This film should have been so much better. There was the potential for this film to do really well, and they just squandered it. This is more of a cash grab than trying to make a decent film. That's the impression I'm getting anyway. Now, as of the Sonic video, I started ranking these films, and I've come up with a berry meter out of 10, and I'm going to give this film 5 berries out of 10. Like I said, there are some good things, but there's so much wrong with it. So if you're looking for a comic book movie with a strong female-led story, go watch Wonder Woman. That hit the nail on the head. But other than that, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to keep in touch with me, there's different social networking sites up here. I'll be back next week, and next week's video I'm going to be dressing up. If you want to see what for, come back next week by hitting that subscribe button, hitting that notification button. There's other videos on the screen for you now. But other than that, I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye bye.